What's up, everybody? Havoc and Malice here from Hapless Gaming. Just got finished going through all my notes and everything from watching the Sony press conference at E3 the other night, and I just wanted to go over a couple things with you, give you my impressions and my opinions. Um, the press conference to me was kind of underwhelming, especially compared to what we've seen from Sony in the past. It was just basically a stream of trailers for games that 70% of them weren't even coming out this year. They weren't coming out until what we got was early 2018. So I wasn't really impressed with it too much. The games we did get that were coming out this year or relatively soon, which would be the Uncharted Lost Legacy and Call of Duty, of course. It's Uncharted. I mean, it's something that's it's a AAA game. I'm glad to see that they found a direction to go with the series after Uncharted 4, and I'm glad they went with Chloe. I know Chloe's a fan favorite. So, I mean, we got some really good footage on there, really beautiful footage, actually, streaming from the PS4 Pro. But I'm just going to go over I'm going to go over the different trailers that we saw and then give you my impressions on them. It's going to be a short video. So we'll start with what they opened with. They opened with Uncharted Lost Legacy. Graphically, it's gorgeous. You can tell the development team really cares a lot about this franchise and this IP. The crowd, obviously reacted as you would expect. It was a good reaction from the crowd there. Naughty Dog has multiple games coming out this year. They have of course, the Uncharted. They have the Crash Bandicoot remake, first 3 games together, which I'm looking forward to. I grew up playing Crash Bandicoot. Release date August. It's pretty good for the Uncharted series, AAA game. We're getting a really early game on that one. And then the second one they went into was Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm guessing it was an expansion pack. Graphically, it's extensive. It's beautiful. I had no idea what I was watching. Unfortunately, I haven't played that title yet, so I can't give you a real opinion on it. However, based on the reception of the game, it's sure to add content to a AAA title. Then they showed us Days Gone. This one took me by surprise. I had not been following this title at all, and it looks good. It looks like it plays well so far. This is one of the titles that has no release date tied to it, not even an ETA, a projected date. The developers, in an interview after the conference, weren't even wanting to talk about it. But it looks like your typical post-zombie apocalypse style setting. It's kind of strikingly familiar to The Walking Dead. My wife was watching the press conference with me, and she had made some comments about, a Walking Dead game, and no, that's not what it turned out to be. And the protagonist, to me, seems kind of like a Daryl clone from The Walking Dead. And it looks interesting, but I mean, it doesn't look like it did anything in the way of original in terms of gameplay. I mean, you have your stealth moments, you have your quick time events. The game looks loaded with quick time events, so I'll keep my eye on that one. It definitely looks like a rent, not a buy for me. And then we have Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter looks like it went in the right direction here. It's true to its form. It keeps to its addictive gameplay in the sense of being tactical. You can't go in guns blazing, so these things will tear you apart. The monsters look amazing and original. I mean, my jaw had dropped a little bit on that one, and it's very colorful. It was very good. I think that I was impressed. That's definitely going to be a pickup purchase for me. And then we have Shadow of Colossus. Shadow of Colossus was originally released on the PlayStation 2, and it was a unique game in the sense that if you're the type of person that likes to just fight boss after boss after boss after boss, and not really, you don't really care about the in-betweens. Then this is probably a title that you'll really like. So I mean, it looks like it got the full HD treatment. It looks like, you know, it looks like Shadow of Colossus. It was a title I played and enjoyed on the PS2, and I'll probably pick it up again and play it on the PS4. Just, you know, to see it through the rose-colored glasses of nostalgia. If you haven't played it and you've been, you know, it's something you wish you would have played, this would probably be a good opportunity for you just to pick it up and give it a good play. This would probably be the definitive version of it, the most enjoyable graphically and musically. Then we had the trailer for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity. I like mashup games. I'm not a big fighter. I don't really do a lot of fighting games. I think I, you know, may have played Mortal Kombat, was it Black, for like a day or two, and that's just because Mortal Kombat goes way back into my childhood. But no, I mean, I wasn't really big into the Street Fighter and stuff like that. But like I said, I love mashup games, and the amount of characters they showed from the Street Fighter series, they had, you know, Mega Man in there, and obviously the Marvel cast with Guardians of the Galaxy and, you know, Captain America and Thanos and stuff like that. So I mean, I probably personally won't play it, but I do think that it will satisfy the hunger or the needs of the people that live and breathe these tournament style games. Then we come to Call of Duty World War II. At first, I was sure that I was watching campaign footage, single player footage, because it had no HUD, it had no telltale signs of being, you know, the multiplayer, you know, the score ticker, the kill ticker, the badges floating across the screen. But we were assured by the developers in the interview afterwards that this was multiplayer footage. I was still skeptical. Activision's been kind of shady in its dealings the last, you know, couple years, and so I was still not entirely convinced. I did watch, however, the gameplay footage that other YouTubers were allowed to show after being allowed to play it the next day. And judging from that footage, I'm really glad to see that Call of Duty appears to be going back to its roots. It appears to be, you know, ditching the advanced movement system, which I know a lot of people, it's a love-hate relationship with it. And people either love it or they hate it. There's really no in-between about it. But the audio that was presented in the videos of the actual gameplay from the other YouTubers and whatnot, and I'm not gonna say it's superbly, you know, graphically beautiful. It's Call of Duty. It's the same thing we've seen graphically, you know, for the last 5-6 years. So, but it is going back to a World War II setting, which that was my favorite one. My favorite Call of Duty was actually Black Ops, but in a close second was obviously World at War. And it looks like it may make us happy. Let's just hope that, you know, they keep their promises with this, and they don't try to milk us for everything we have, which is Activision. So you know there's going to be supply drops. You know there's going to be, you know, a cash market for them to make money post-purchase as well. You know, with DLC and whatnot. But I'm really good to see it go back to the boots on the ground. I'm really good to see it return to form. Some of the kill streaks looked pretty epic in the way they executed. It looked pretty good, and which is something that it was something that it needed. A lot of people, you don't even see a lot of commentaries anymore with Infinite Warfare's footage. They're all playing Modern Warfare Remastered. And then they showed a set of PlayStation VR titles set to release. The first one they showed us was Skyrim for PlayStation VR. Look, I love Skyrim. I love the Elder Scrolls series. However, do we really need another iteration of Skyrim? I don't think so. I think this is just, they had the coding, they had the, you know, for the game, and I think that they just probably went back and tweaked a little bit for VR. It was a perfect candidate for it, but I don't see where we needed another iteration of Skyrim. It's a beautiful game. It almost cost me my marriage when it was first released because of all the hours I sunk into it, and it just didn't need another iteration. I think Bethesda probably could have went in and did something else with either the IP for it, and probably the money it took to work on the title to make it compatible with PlayStation VR. And then we got one called Star Child. This one I wasn't impressed with. It looks like an indie developed game, which, you know, I'm not against indie developers. They definitely have a place in the market. I wasn't too impressed with what I saw. I know PlayStation VR is still young, and the catalog of software and apps for it is still relatively small. And then we saw a trailer for a title, The Inpatient, and that one kind of looked pretty good. I may pick that one up. It kind of looked like your mystery horror thriller or psychological thriller, something to really screw with your head a little bit. That's the type of apps that I really like, something that really make you think. And then we had Final Fantasy 15 Fishing. Yes, you heard it. Final Fantasy 15 Fishing for PlayStation VR. Played Final Fantasy 15, enjoyed it, but Final Fantasy 15 Fishing. But you know what? It's got the Final Fantasy stamp on it. It may do well. I know a lot of people really like the fishing element in the 15. I just don't see it. I mean, the last time that Square, you know, just slapped a Final Fantasy title onto something, The Spirits Within, you know, back in the day when they released the movie, it didn't go over well with fans. They weren't very receptive of it. If it had been any other title, any other movie by Square, and they not called it Final Fantasy, it probably would have done better. It probably would have been more well receptive. However, I don't think that I think it's going to appeal to a few people, because not everyone has PlayStation VR. Not a lot of people actually, you know, own the hardware yet. But Final Fantasy Fishing, that's, I really don't know what to say about it. I don't know what to think. And then we had a VR trailer for a game called Bravo Team. Bravo Team, I'm sorry, it looks generic. It looks like a shooter. It just looks really generic to me, kind of like Modern Combat did back on the PS3. It looked like, I mean, I'm not saying the developers didn't work hard on it and stuff like that, but it looked like a shooter in VR. And what we were shown really didn't impress me too much as far as graphics go and as far as audio and gameplay. It just looked generic to me. And then we had one called, I guess it was Moss. This one is different. It looks original. It looks as if it's kind of like leading a little mouse around a maze of sort, a level. And once again, it looks like a puzzler. It looks like, you know, something you'd actually have to put some thought into, and you'd have to, you know, use your brain a little bit rather than just mindless, you know, blood spill, kind of like what you're watching now. And then we had the God of War trailer, or as it's been dubbed, Dad of War. Love the series. I've been on, you know, sorry about that. Had some complications with the audio. But yeah, God of War. Played all the releases in the IP. Loved it. I love the fact that they're giving, you know, showing us a different side of Kratos. It looks like as if he's also going to grow in character more, where he's got to be the ultimate badass, but he's also got to be aware that he's also, you know, responsible for a child, and that his ways are not always the best ways. Looks really, really, really good. I mean, this is what we've come to expect from God of War. You know, epic set pieces, epic boss battles, a very fluid button masher, hack and slash combat system, and it looks like that's what we're going to get. And obviously an epic tale. It looks like it's Norse mythology versus Greek mythology, because we all know how that went down. So it's a new set of gods, I guess, that are after him, for whatever reason. You know, I'm sure we'll find out. And it looked like, you know, it was also the battle system. It was really neat. Looks like the child is going to be like an assist as far as what the child does with you, because the child is with you through it appears to be through the whole game, through the whole story. And in an interview after the press conference, you know, Santa Monica said that it's still a very linear game and is in progression, but it's something they wanted to focus also more on exploration versus just, well, let me go check the right path versus the left path to see if there's a collectible down there. No, you'll actually be able to, from what they said, is take a break, get off the story train for a little bit, go do some exploring in the area, possibly find some goodies, and then, you know, come back, get back on the story train, and just keep progressing. That's something that I think would be a welcome addition to the franchise. Once again, God of War, definitely a jewel. It's a gem of the press conference. And then they showed us Detroit Become Human. This was also a game that kind of flew in under my radar. I had heard nothing about it, or if I had, I'd forgotten about it. But this one I got to give praise. This one looks like a very original story. It's a very original concept. It kind of looks like a choose your own adventure type game. And in an interview with the developers after the conference, they had told us that just because a character dies or whatnot, there is no game over in this game. There is no end, you know, as far as through an error of your own. The story will always progress regardless of what has happened in the story. So what we're doing now is we're just going to wait for this game. We're gonna follow it. We're going to wait for it, because it's definitely going to be a pickup for me. I kind of like these choose your consequences, pick your poison type deals, where, you know, your decisions actually affect the game world and story progression. And the developer had also told us that they were very against the smoke and mirror approach, where some developers make you think you have a choice, but regardless of what you had chosen, you always end up in the same scenario, you know, at the end or in time. So they really wanted to stray away from this. So they really they worked really hard. Apparently the script was over 2,000 pages, and just it's going to be a title to keep your eye on and definitely pick up. And then we had Destiny 2. Destiny 2. What can I say about Destiny? I've been playing it since release, the first one, and yeah, I loved it. I like the idea of it. It's a great title. I know it had its issues to begin with, and us that were here from the beginning had to deal with a lot. But you know what? It grew on us. It grew into something epic. It brought a lot of people together. A lot of friendships were formed. The gameplay was always good. The additional content was always worth it. And every time they would tweak something in the system, you know, Bungie was pretty straightforward with what was going on. Now, as far as character carryover from the original Destiny into Destiny 2, they say, from what we understand, is your character, as far as its cosmetic appearance, will carry over. There may be even some cosmetic gear awarded or titles awarded for those that have passed the Black Garden level in the original Destiny, and have carried over to Destiny 2. However, weapons, powers, abilities, and stuff like that will be reset. It's like kind of like resetting your Guardian with keeping a memory of what it used to be. And they did have some good news for us. They said that the release date had been moved up 2 days, so instead of being released on September 8th, it will be released on September 6th. And the demo looks like it will be out sometime in July, I want to say. It will be out in sometime in July. And we are desperately waiting for that. Yeah. And it will be out October 24th for PC. The beta will start on July 18th for people that have pre-ordered it. And it will begin on the 21st for non-pre-orders. And what's interesting is it was asked if the game would run any different on the Pro version of the PS4 or the Scorpio 360. And they claim that it will be 30 frames per second across all consoles. PCs obviously have no cap. So, and PC will be getting a beta for it. However, the PC beta date, according to the developer, is unknown. And then we were left with Spider-Man. Spider-Man. I'm a real big fan of the Arkham games, with the way the combat was, especially in the later games with the exploration, the freedom. With Arkham Knight, you could, basically go wherever you want, do whatever you want. Take a break from the main storyline. Go do some side quests and whatnot. And I'm glad to see Spider-Man coming to the PlayStation exclusively with this type of gameplay. The last really great Spider-Man game we had, in my opinion, was Spider-Man 2 back on the PS2. And it looks like we're going to get that type of freedom again. It looks like, we're going to be able to circumnavigate a living, breathing city with Spidey. And I mean, it just looks like they had just done a phenomenal job with the gameplay, the combat, the stealth mechanics. It looks phenomenal, and I'm actually really sad that at this point it's a PlayStation exclusive. That Xbox guys are not, they're not going to get to enjoy it. But we've been told things were PlayStation exclusive before, and a year later it gets released on Xbox. So there's still hope for you guys. I'm just really glad to see that Spider-Man's finally getting the game he deserves. They put a lot of time and effort, paid a lot of attention to details. Those damn quick events, though, quick time events, I swear, I know that sometimes they may be a necessity in games. I know sometimes they may be it just helps the story flow, but God, do I hate quick time events. God of War, I mean, like I said, I love that series, loaded with quick time events, and whatnot. And for the last few minutes, I want to talk about EA Play. EA Play, after the press conference and after the post-conference show, I watched EA Play. And, it's where EA, showcases some of their titles that they're working on, their projects. I'm not big into sports, so I mean I'm not really going to go too much into that. I don't want to talk about something that actually have no passion for. Need for Speed. We were shown Need for Speed Payback. For God's sakes, EA, please take the stories out of my Need for Speed game. Stories in a Need for Speed game ruin the overall experience. Just my opinion. Some of you might like the stories. I don't like a open world game, or it appears open world, but deceptively so because it's still a linear progression. Don't give me that crap. Give me a Need for Speed Online, MMO-ish, kind of like what Test Drive Unlimited tried to do, but give it to me Need for Speed style, with the action, with the edge of the seat, you know, white knuckle racing. Give me that. Stop giving me these Fast and the Furious rip-off stories, or Cops and Robbers rip-off stories, and just give me a racing game. Just give me a racing game. The last time they did this completely, to me, was Shift. Need for Speed Shift. I realized Need for Speed Shift got a lot of negative feedback, but it got a lot of positive feedback too, because it was a racing game. It wasn't a Pro Street where I gotta prove that I'm a bigger badass than you. It wasn't, you know, a Need for Speed Undercover where, you know, I gotta present a really thin storyline. Now you give me that, and we're set. Now, with Battlefront 2, the last few minutes, I'm going to talk about Battlefront 2. I played Battlefront, really liked Battlefront. It did have its problems. You know, it wasn't very user-friendly. It was kind of clunky. It looked gorgeous. It was a beautiful game. But, you know, you can only do so much with graphics. You can only get so far with having a beautiful game. The gameplay's not there, and the users don't feel like, and the users just feel like it's not a smooth experience. They're not going to play it, and I mean, you can tell now by the numbers. The only people that really play Battlefield now are the really dedicated, the people that this is their game. And Battlefront 2 looks like that they've addressed the problems. I watched the full 30 minutes of gameplay, and it was running at a smooth 60 frames per second. And they've added class gameplay back. They've added commanders on the battlefield that, you know, give the other players surrounding them perks and boosts. They've added more heroes from all generations of Star Wars. It's definitely a game that I'm going to pick up. Definitely one that I'm going to really enjoy. It looks like they've fixed their issues, and this is good. I mean, you kind of know that they kind of screwed up when we get a Battlefront 2 so soon after the original release of EA's Battlefront. I think it was a year before. So, year before last. So, it wasn't what they expected. Fans were not happy. They sold us basically a $60 complete package, multiplayer only, and not everyone plays multiplayer. So, but that's my opinions of the Sony E3 Expo. As you know, I'm really new to this, so you know, sorry if I appear to ramble on or not. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this video out, and I'm going to go ahead and let it play till the end. But thanks for joining me, and if you'd like to know more about Destiny, I want to throw a shout out. In the description below, I have linked, he's like an affiliate, he runs a gaming channel now too, it's DG Gaming. This kid knows everything about Destiny, and has been following Destiny 2 really closely. So, go ahead, give him a look, click the link in the description below, take you to his page. If he's posted any videos yet about it, give me a like and subscribe and help my channel grow.